Welcome back, everyone, to another deep dive with the Moore's Global Finance Podcast team. I'm John, and today we're diving into the world of precious metals investing with Tiffany.
Hi, everyone.
So, Tiffany, when things start looking a little shaky in the economy, a lot of folks turn to that classic safe haven, precious metals.
Right.
What is it about gold and silver and all that that makes them so appealing in times of uncertainty?
Well, John, it's interesting because precious metals have this long history of holding their value. Even when the stock market is kind of a roller coaster ride.
Makes sense.
They're often seen as this hedge against inflation and a good way to diversify a portfolio, beyond those traditional stocks and bonds.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like when you start looking at this particular landscape, two names really pop up.
Yeah.
American Hartford Gold and Birch Gold Group. And that's kind of what we're going to be unpacking today in this deep dive. What each company offers, how they're different, how they're similar.
Absolutely. And I think it's important to note that both companies, both American Hartford Gold and Birch Gold Group, are known for helping investors buy and sell and even store these precious metals.
Right.
But they each have their own kind of unique approaches and strengths that cater to, maybe different types of investors.
Let's unpack that a little bit because American Hartford Gold, they really seem to cultivate that family business kind of feel.
Yeah.
Their website really emphasizes building those relationships and having that personalized service.
Yes, and I think, for someone who's new to investing in precious metals, that can be very reassuring.
Right.
This makes it feel less like a transaction and more like a true partnership.
Like they're in it with you.
Exactly.
On the flip side, Birch Gold Group, they really lean heavily on their market research and their expertise. They talk a lot about their team of specialists who provide this data-driven advice.
Yeah, it seems like their focus is on empowering investors with a lot of knowledge.
Right.
They have a ton of educational resources and analysis to help people make informed decisions.
So it's less about that warm, fuzzy feeling and more about the data.
Exactly.
Now, here's something I thought was really interesting. Both companies use endorsements to build credibility, which, in this world, trust is paramount.
Absolutely.
American Hartford Gold is endorsed by Bill O'Reilly.
Interesting.
And Birch Gold Group boasts Ben Shapiro. So it seems like they're also targeting slightly different demographics there as well.
Yeah, it's true. In a field where trust is so important, like you said, having a recognizable figure kind of vouch for the company, it can resonate with potential investors. It can take this complex topic and make it feel more accessible and relatable.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, let's say you're intrigued. You're like, okay, this sounds interesting. I want to maybe dip my toes into precious metals investing. Both companies offer gold IRAs with a surprisingly low minimum investment, only $10,000 to get started. What kind of investor do you think that attracts, Tiffany?
Yeah, that low entry point is pretty significant because it opens up precious metals investing to a wider range of people. So you're talking about, maybe younger investors who are just starting to build their portfolio, maybe folks with limited capital, but still want to have that diversity in their investments. It makes precious metals less exclusive and more accessible.
Yeah, democratizes it a little bit, brings it to the masses, but of course, no investment comes without fees.
Right.
American Hartford Gold seems to really emphasize waiving fees for new clients. They highlight this up front on their website.
That's a pretty compelling offer, especially for someone who's a little bit hesitant about the costs associated with investing.
Right.
However, it's important to look beyond just that initial waiver and really understand what the full fee structure looks like.
So it's not just a one-time and you're done.
Yeah.
You really got to understand the long-term costs. So they do mention a yearly fee of $100 to $150 for safekeeping and other services, an annual custodian fee of around $180, plus a $230 initial setup charge. Now, Birch Gold Group, on the other hand, they really lead with transparency. They break down their fees very clearly online, including a $100 annual account management fee, a one-time $50 account opening fee, a yearly storage and insurance fee of another $100, and then they also have a one-time $30 wiring fee.
Interesting.
So, in the long run, they might actually be pretty comparable.
Yeah, it's a classic trade-off. American Hartford Gold might seem more enticing up front with those waived fees, but Birch Gold Group's emphasis on transparent pricing could lead to fewer surprises down the road.
Right.
It really depends on your priorities as an investor.
What are you looking for?
Exactly.
So it seems like just from what we've talked about so far, choosing between these two companies is more than just the numbers. It's about finding a partner that aligns with your investing style and your comfort level.
Absolutely. I think that's a really key takeaway. Do you prefer a company that emphasizes personal relationships and makes that initial investment process feel effortless? Or do you value that in-depth research and transparent pricing, even if it requires a little bit more effort on your part, you know?
Yeah,
Understanding your preferences is going to be crucial in making this decision.
absolutely.
Yeah.
With that in mind, I think it's time to dive a little deeper into the pros and cons of each company and really unpack what they have to offer.
Sounds good. Let's do it. It's
Mhm.
like choosing a hiking buddy. Do you want someone who's there to, keep things light and encouraging?
Right.
Or do you want that person who knows every trail marker and potential hazard?
Yeah, I like that analogy.
Right.
So let's kind of delve into these pros and cons that we've been dancing around here a little bit.
Okay.
When it comes to customer support, American Hartford Gold really seems to shine. Their website's just full of these testimonials praising their responsiveness, their helpfulness.
Yeah, that personal touch can be so valuable, especially when you're dealing with something as important as your financial future.
For sure.
It can really make you feel more confident and less overwhelmed by the whole process.
Yeah, and it's not just about being friendly.
Mm.
These people really seem to know their stuff.
Yeah.
People consistently mention the knowledge and expertise of the American Hartford Gold team. So it seems like they strike a good balance
Right.
between being approachable but also being professionals.
They get it. They
Yeah.
understand that for a lot of people, this is totally new territory. So, building that trust and rapport is essential.
Now, even with all these glowing reviews, there are a few critical voices out there, and I think it's important to highlight those as well.
Sure.
Some customers mention occasional delays in communication or updates.
Okay. And there are a handful of reviews that mention, billing errors or maybe some unexpected fees, particularly those associated with storage.
Uh-huh.
So I think it emphasizes the importance of really reading the fine print and clarifying any uncertainties you have before you fully commit.
Transparency is key no matter which company you go with. Now, switching gears a little bit to Birch Gold Group, their commitment to transparency is really front and center. They dedicate a whole section of their website to explaining their fee structure in detail.
I think that's refreshing to see a company that's so upfront about the costs,
Yeah.
That approach likely attracts investors who really value that clarity and predictability.
And they go beyond just listing the fees.
Hmm.
They seem to really prioritize educating their clients. A lot of the reviews praise their thorough explanations of precious metals investing and, the time that their specialists take to answer questions.
Yeah, it seems like their goal is to really empower investors to understand not just what they're buying, but why,
Right.
which is important.
However, some Birch Gold Group customers express concerns about potential losses.
Okay.
A few reviews mentioned disappointment with investment choices that didn't perform as expected.
Right. And I think this highlights the inherent risk in any investment, even those that are considered safe havens.
Uh-huh.
The value of precious metals can fluctuate, and past performance is never a guarantee of future returns.
It's a good reminder that, no investment is foolproof.
Right.
We also noticed a few comments about inconsistent service quality with Birch Gold Group.
Okay.
Some interactions were stellar, while others left customers wanting more.
Yeah, consistency is definitely something to consider.
Right.
You want to feel confident that you're going to receive that same level of support and attention, regardless of, who we're talking to.
So we've covered a lot of ground here. We've looked at fees, endorsements,
Mhm.
customer reviews, even just the overall vibe of each company.
Right.
For someone who's seriously considering, dipping their toes into this world of precious metals, what are some key takeaways that they should really keep in mind, Tiffany?
Okay, well, first and foremost, I think education is paramount. Take the time to really learn how precious metals work, the different types of investments that are available, the potential risks and rewards involved. Don't just rely on a company's marketing materials.
Do your own research.
Exactly. Do your own research, ask a lot of questions, and secondly, understand that there is no one-size-fits-all approach. What works for one investor might not be the best fit for another. So you think about your financial goals, your risk tolerance, your personal preferences when you're choosing a company.
Find what fits you.
Exactly.
I like that. So that's all kind of the theoretical side of things.
Yeah.
Let's get practical.
Okay.
How does someone actually get started with these companies? What are the steps involved?
Okay. Well, with both American Hartford Gold and Birch Gold Group, they make the onboarding process pretty straightforward. So with American Hartford Gold, after you explore their website and kind of check out their resources, you can reach out either via phone or a contact form, and they offer free consultations with their specialists.
So you can ask questions, talk about your goals, see if it's a good fit.
Exactly. And if you decide to move forward, They guide you through setting up a Gold IRA.
Okay.
This involves choosing a custodian, completing some paperwork, and then funding your account with that $10,000 minimum that we talked about.
And they help you select the specific precious metals for your portfolio, whether that's, gold, silver, platinum, or a combination of those.
Right.
Once your account's funded and you've chosen your metals, American Hartford Gold,
Right.
they handle the purchase and the storage on your behalf.
Okay.
They work with reputable depositories across the country to ensure that, everything is safe and secure.
So it's designed to be a very seamless experience
Right.
to minimize the hassle for the investor.
Now, what about Birch Gold Group?
With Birch Gold Group, the initial steps are very similar. You'll familiarize yourself with their offerings, their educational resources. They have a ton of information available online, including a free downloadable guide.
Right.
And then, just like with American Hartford Gold, you can reach out through their website by phone or even schedule a call directly through their online calendar.
Nice.
Again, the initial consultation is free, allows you to ask those questions and really gauge whether or not they're the right fit for you.
So very similar in that way.
Exactly.
And if you do choose to work with Birch Gold Group, they'll walk you through the account opening process, which also requires that $10,000 minimum investment for a Gold IRA. They assist you in choosing the precious metals that align with your portfolio goals, your risk tolerance.
Okay.
And just like American Hartford Gold, they take care of purchasing and storing those precious metals securely. So the process overall is quite similar.
Yeah, I think the key distinction really lies in their approach and emphasis,
Right.
American Hartford Gold prioritizes that personal touch and making it a smooth, effortless experience, whereas Birch Gold Group, they lean heavily on that education and empowering investors to make those independent decisions.
So it seems like the differentiator is really how hands-on do you want them to be?
Yeah, exactly. And these differing philosophies might appeal to different types of investors,
Right.
Some might prefer that hand-holding and reassurance, while others really value being actively involved in the decision-making process.
Right. So it really boils down to understanding your own needs and priorities as an investor.
Absolutely.
Now, I think it would be really interesting to take a closer look at those customer reviews to see what real people are saying about their experiences with these companies.
Yeah, let's dive into that.
It's kind of like, getting a sneak peek behind the curtain.
Yeah, exactly. They provide those real-world perspectives.
Right.
And they can help you gauge whether a company's values and practices align with your expectations.
And the good news is both American Hartford Gold and Birch Gold Group receive overwhelmingly positive reviews.
Yeah.
People consistently praise their helpfulness, responsiveness, and just overall satisfaction with the process.
Yeah, it's reassuring to see that both companies are delivering on their promises and genuinely helping people kind of navigate this world
Right.
of precious metals.
But as we mentioned before, no company's perfect. Right.
All right.
There are going to be some critical voices, and I think it's important to highlight those as well, just to get the complete picture.
Absolutely.
With American Hartford Gold, the criticisms seem to mainly revolve around occasional communication hiccups and billing errors.
Yeah, it seems like there might be a little room for improvement in terms of consistency and clarity.
Uh-huh.
A few reviewers mention, feeling a little confused about specific fees or experiencing some delays in getting their questions answered.
So it really highlights the importance of being proactive.
Mm.
Don't be afraid to ask those questions. Double-check those details. Advocate for yourself throughout the process.
Exactly. And remember, even with a company that prides itself on customer service, you still play a role in ensuring that you have a smooth experience.
You got to be your own advocate.
Absolutely.
Now, on the Birch Gold Group side, the main concern that pops up in a few reviews is the potential for financial loss. A few people, expressed disappointment with investment choices that didn't quite yield the returns that they had hoped for.
Right. And this really underscores that inherent risk in any investment.
Uh-huh.
While precious metals are considered a safe haven, their value can fluctuate and past performance never guarantees future returns.
So it's a reminder that, you got to go into any investment with realistic expectations.
Yes.
And a clear understanding of your risk tolerance.
Absolutely. And Birch Gold Group's educational resources can be really valuable in this regard.
Yeah, they really do try to equip those investors with the knowledge
Exactly.
to make those informed decisions.
Right. But it's crucial to remember that even with the best guidance, no investment is entirely risk-free.
So as we kind of wrap up this deep dive, it's clear that both American Hartford Gold and Birch Gold Group have a lot to offer.
Yeah, I agree.
They each have their own strengths, their own areas for potential improvement.
And the best choice for you is going to depend on what you value most. in an investing partner.
Yeah.
You know, if you prioritize that personalized touch, a streamlined experience, a company that excels at hand-holding American Hartford Gold might be the better fit. But if you're drawn to transparency, in-depth education, feeling empowered to make independent decisions, then Birch Gold Group could be more aligned with your style.
I think it really comes down to knowing yourself as an investor
Absolutely.
and finding that company that complements your preferences, your priorities.
And before we sign off, I'd like to leave everyone with a final thought as you embark on this precious metals journey. Ask yourself this: what factors are non-negotiable for you when choosing a company to guide you? What values and practices are most important to ensure that you have a successful and fulfilling experience?
Those are great questions to think about. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of precious metals investing. We hope you've gained some valuable insights to help you make those informed decisions.
Until next time, everyone, happy investing.